Hello peeps, welcome to Sundays with Sparky, with me, Matt Sparks. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. I have been pretty busy this week with working and stuff, and trying to get videos out and stuff for you. And I'm going to try and keep this episode a bit shorter than last week's, because I realised that last week's episode was pretty long. And yeah, so sometimes when I start talking about stuff that I'm interested in, I can sometimes get a little bit carried away, and I just need to learn to rein it in a little bit. Otherwise I'll just go on forever. So I'm going to start with movies this week. This week I watched this on DVD, Jack Reacher with Tom Cruise and Rosamund Pike and a bunch of other people. It was pretty good. I've not read any of the books that it's based on, so I don't know how it compares to the books. Apparently the character of Jack Reacher is supposed to be like 6'4" or something, and built like a built thing. And obviously Tom Cruise isn't 6'4" at all. He's probably closer to my height. But it was still a pretty good movie. If you haven't read any of the books yet, it might be better to watch this first before you do, and then when you read the books, then you can change your opinion. The other film I went to see was at the cinema, and I went to see Captain Phillips. I finally got to see it. I almost didn't, because Gravity came out this week. So I was originally going to go and see Gravity this week, but because I wanted to see Captain Phillips as well, I decided that maybe it was a better idea to see Captain Phillips while it was still out and still had showings, and go and see Gravity next week, because it will still be Gravity will still be big next week, and there'll still be plenty of shows to go and see. So so that's what we're doing. I'm really looking forward to seeing Gravity. But Captain Phillips was a great movie. Absolutely brilliant. Tom Hanks was on form, as always. You know, he's just one of the best. And but not just that, the performance of the actual... in case you don't know what it's about, if you haven't seen the trailer or anything, it's about a cargo ship that gets boarded by Somalian pirates, and obviously Tom Hanks is Captain Phillips, and he's the captain of the ship. And so yeah, you get these Somalian pirates on board, and it's all about how they kind of try to stay alive and hide from them, and the interactions with them. And I mean, I don't know much about where they found the people to play the Somalian pirates. I'd heard a rumour that they weren't actual like actors, like you would hire actors. They were just Somali people that they found somewhere that just, you know, I don't know how true that is, but yeah, it was really good. It was really good. I mean, I don't want to give anything away, so I'm not really gonna. I'm not going to really say much more, but you should probably watch it, because it was a great film, and it went in a direction I didn't expect it to go. So that's always good. If a film can do something that you're not expecting, then that's generally good, I think, because otherwise it can feel a bit predictable, and if it's a bit predictable, then you kind of lose interest. So that's the movies. As I say, that's it. That's all I've watched this week as far as movies are concerned, I think. Yeah, I don't think I've seen any others. But the big news of this week has got to be about Blizzcon, because it was Blizzcon Friday and Saturday. And I got the virtual ticket so I could watch it live. And it was really interesting. I mean, you know, I play Hearthstone, obviously, which is a Blizzard game, but I mean, I've never really been into StarCraft. That's not real-time strategy games. I used to play quite a lot of, but not so much anymore. And Diablo 3 I played through, lost interest, and World of Warcraft I've played for years, and then I lost interest, and then I came back for a while, and then I lost interest again. But some of the changes that they're making to both World of Warcraft and Diablo 3 sound really good. They've obviously been listening to the community as to sort of the things that they want to see change. And some of this stuff has been a long time coming, like the updated character models in World of Warcraft. You know, I mean, I appreciate that it's like a 9-year-old game. So this is something that they really needed to do. I mean, they could have done with doing it a lot earlier, but obviously, I guess Cataclysm was probably going to be difficult for them to do anything like that, just because they had so much work to do anyway, with how everything was changing. And then with Mists of Pandaria, they had a whole new class come out, along with a new race as well. So they probably wouldn't have had time to do it then. So this is because there's no new races or new playable classes this time around for this expansion, I guess that means that they've had time to actually go back and remodel all the old characters. So that's good. I mean, that's something that's... I mean, it doesn't really make any difference to the actual, like, playability of the game, but it's nice that they've done it because it's something that people have been asking for a while. The expansion itself is going to be set back in Draenor, which is kind of going back to Burning Crusade, which was set in what was called Outland, which was the broken, partly destroyed Draenor. So it's going to be weird because there's going to be places there that you recognise only before they were broken and smashed up and destroyed. So it's going to be kind of weird and they were trying to explain how it works because it's essentially a time travel without any time travel, because you're technically going back in time to fight some well, it's called Warlords of Draenor, right? So the idea is that you go back in time to defeat these warlords before they come through the portal and kill you all. So the threat to the present is real, but the Warlords of Draenor is set in the past, but they have a portal in which they can go through to bring them through to the present. And apparently it's not going to change the timeline. It's all very confusing. I was just like, what are you talking about? So yeah, it's not going to be quite like Back to the Future and how like stuff that they did in the past would affect stuff in the future. I don't think it's going to quite work like that. I think what they wanted to do was that they had all these great characters from some of the previous games, like Warcraft 2, I think they were talking about, that most people probably had never really seen before. I mean, if they played Warcraft 2, they probably would have done. But they're also introducing things called garrisons, which will be a bit like Hearthfire from Skyrim, the DLC where you could buy a plot of land and build your own manor house, essentially. That was in Skyrim, and it's going to be a similar sort of thing to that, where you get a plot of land, and then you can start putting buildings and building walls and stuff in this plot of land, and you might get like a mine and maybe a blacksmith shop and a town hall and an inn and maybe a mage tower, you know. So you're essentially building like a little garrison outpost type thing. That you've probably seen similar sorts of things dotted about in the world if you've played World of Warcraft already. A bit like Netherguard Keep. I would say it's probably like Netherguard Keep in the Blasted Lands, where you've got the big walls, and it's got like a town hall and a barracks and a mage tower and stables, you know, and that kind of thing. So if you imagine Netherguard Keep, it's probably very much like that. And the idea is that you can find followers dotted about within the world who you can kind of recruit to join you at your garrison, and you can then send people out on missions to collect stuff for you or fight monsters or whatever. I'm assuming this is all kind of like you send them off, but you never actually see anything that they do. They just come back and go, "We did this," and you go, "Thanks very much," and you kind of reap the rewards. You can also get ones that are miners, for example, so you can just set them to work in the mine, and then the next day you can come back and collect all the ore that they've got, and you can use that for crafting and stuff. So it sounds quite interesting. I'll be interested to see how that actually works, because at the moment they're kind of giving out these bits of information, but I think once we actually see something actually happening in front of us and we can see how it would actually work, it might be a bit easier to understand. I must admit, the Orc Warlords of Draenor look badass. All of them look really, really good. And it'd be interesting to see how the storylines work out, because obviously you've got characters like Gromhelmscream, Duratan, Kargath Bladefist. Kargath Bladefist, man, they are nuts. He leads the Shattered Hand clan, and they essentially were kind of slaves of the ogres, and to escape their slavery, they cut off the hand that had the shackles on, and attached like these weaponry of blades and clubs and stuff, and they attached them to their hands, well, what was their hands, which is why he's called Bladefist, Kargath Bladefist. But they're pretty crazy. And then there's who else is there? So I'm just checking. Yeah, so you've got Gromhelmscream, Kargath Bladefist, Black Hand, Ner'zhul. It's an interesting one to keep an eye on, Ner'zhul, because obviously we all know that he becomes the Lich King in the future. Gul'dan, the Warlock. That's another one. What's his name? I can't remember what his name is. Kilrog, who his clan rip out one of their eyes so they can see their own death, and then they do everything in their power to rush towards that death. It's like, what? That's crazy. So it should be quite interesting to see how that all pans out. I've certainly been more excited about this expansion than I have been about... I think Lich King was the last one I got really excited about. Cataclysm, I was like, well, I don't really know much about Deathwing. I know that he's a bad man. He's a bad man. And, you know, that kind of stuff. But, yeah. I've probably spoken too much already. So, I'm gonna end it here. There is a ton of stuff about Diablo 3 that I'd kind of like to talk about, but I just don't think we've got time. What I'll do is I'll put links in the description for like the new Diablo 3 expansion and some of the changes going on there, and the new World of Warcraft expansion. There's also the new Heroes of the Storm game that I quite like to talk about, but again, there's so much that happened. I mean, this was over the course of like 2 days. I'm trying to give you a summary of like my favourite bits, and most of it was just World of Warcraft related. Oh, Hearthstone PC version is going into open beta within the next week or so. At least that's what they said. That may just be US, but hopefully it'll be Europe as well, which is awesome. And it's also going to be coming to iOS, like and tablet devices, and Android as well in the future. So that's also pretty awesome news. So yeah, okay. So yeah, I'm going to call it here because otherwise I'll just. This is going to be otherwise it's going to be another long one, and you'll be like, get on with it, you know. All right. So I shall thank you for watching. Don't forget, if you want to see the second part of Suki's, or mine and Suki's playthrough of Saints Row 2, no, Saints Row 4, it'll be part 2 of Saints Row 4, then you need to go to her channel. Again, I'll put another link in the description in case you haven't been there. And that's it. I shall see you next week where we can talk about Gravity. And, oh, crap, I almost forgot. I don't know how many videos I'm going to be able to get out this week because I'm putting new stuff in the computer. Well, I say I'm putting new stuff in. I've bought stuff to put into the computer. I'm not actually personally doing it. A friend of mine, Evo, will be doing it for me because he's a boss. He is the boss. So, like, I've got a new motherboard and some new RAM and some other stuff that I don't understand. So hopefully, fingers crossed, everything goes fine and I can continue uploading as per usual. But I should get another Wolf Among Us out tomorrow, but after that I can't guarantee anything until you see something come up. So within, hope, fingers crossed, everything will go fine and my normal schedule of Monday, Wednesday, Friday will continue this week. But if it doesn't, then you'll probably know why. Just a heads up. Alright, thanks very much for watching. I shall see you again next Sunday, hopefully. And I'll speak to you then. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye bye.